So we're gonna get started. Good afternoon. It is, what is it, 2:04? And we like to start on time. So you can go, and I know you all are very busy. My name is Jocelyn Peña-Melnick, and I'm the chairman of the Health and Government Operations Committee. My vice chair is coming shortly. So we thank you for being here with us. I'm gonna go through some rules to make the process easier. So when you give us your testimony, these bills that we are hearing today are all bills that are sponsor only because they have a cross, and we have already heard the hearing. All I want to know from you is it's in the same posture. If not, was it amended? What does that amendment do? And also, did anyone testify in opposition in the Senate as well? I'm going to go through the bill order, if you will be so kind, and come up when I call your bill. Please keep in mind a small caveat is that I may change it depending on who I see in the audience, right? Some of our members are in other committees, so it doesn't mean that they're not paying attention. These proceedings are actually recorded, and we get to see it, and we also get the files that we get to read ahead of time as well. So with that in mind, this is the bill order. First, we're gonna go with Senator Hedelman, Senate Bill 144, Senate Bill 119, Senate Bill 197. I see Senator Guile here, Senate Bill 412, Senate Bill 403, 1472, 197, 332, 212, 220, 267, and 226. If I change it, it's for a reason. Just trust me on it, okay? So let's go first with Senator Hedelman. And if there's a senator here, if you were first, I didn't see how you came in, so I apologize ahead of time. Just let me know, okay? And this is Senate Bill 144, Senator Hedelman and Guile. This is medical records fees, attorneys representing patients. Good afternoon, Senator. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair and abstention, members of the Health and Government Operations Committee. I'm Shelley Hedelman, and I'm here to present Senate Bill 144, which is this in the same exact fashion as House Bill 153, which you passed resoundingly. There was no one in opposition on our side, and I just asked for a favorable report.
All right. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, Senator, that was outstanding testimony. So thank you for being with us. And this concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 144. And we appreciate you coming over. We do not take it for granted, okay, for all of you. Next, we have Senator Lamb, Senate Bill 119, legally protected healthcare, gender affirming treatment. And this is jointly assigned to Health and Government and Judiciary. I don't see my judiciary colleagues here, but they are actually in hearings, and they'll be able to watch this, these proceedings. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Happy to be here to present Senate Bill 119 for the record. Clarence Lamb, Senator District 12. This bill is identical to House Bill 691 from Delegate Moon, who is the sponsor over here, which is identical cross, which this committee has already heard. Just a reminder, this bill is seeking to extend our abortion care shielding law to ensure that patients of gender affirming care are also safe in the state.
Okay, thank you. And I see Delegate Kaiser has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just
Yes.
simply, Senator Lamb, did you all amend the legislation, and can you explain if you did any amendments that you put in?
I don't believe we amended the legislation. It's pretty straightforward to add gender affirming care to the definition of legally protected care, which you probably recall from last year.
And can you remind the committee why is it important to do that?
It's important because not all states have taken the same approach to gender affirming care as we have, and certain states have criminalized gender affirming care either by statute or by regulations. And so when individuals from Maryland that may have gone through gender affirming care moved to other states, those medical records, particularly electronic medical records, could easily move with them. And so this will ensure that the individuals that have had gender affirming care can have privacy within their own medical records under the definition of legally protected care, similar to what we've done with abortion care, to ensure that those medical records are not transferred out of state and would not put these individuals at risk if they were to move to some place that does not have the same policies and protections as we do here in Maryland.
And this is the same protection that everyone else has, correct?
It's the same protection that, for example, is granted to abortion care
Mhm.
under the definition of legally protected care. So we added a part of the statute last year for legally protected care that was really focused on abortion care. This simply adds gender affirming care to that part of the statute to ensure that those parts of the medical record are also kept private and protected.
Are there any questions for the senator? Delegate Olson?
Thank you. Would you have a problem if we made it more generic and just said all legally protected care in Maryland so that we don't have to keep amending it every time we change what's legally protected in Maryland?
I think that that's what this bill does. So there is a definition of legally protected care. It was newly created into statute when we passed legislation last year for abortion care, but the definition did not include gender affirming care. And so that's why this bill is present, to add gender affirming care to the definition of legally protected care. Legally protected care is already in the statute.
Yes.
I understand the problem is we're being very specific as to what legally protected is. So if we were, say, to pass death with dignity, then we would need to come back and amend that in too. And so I'm saying if we made the language more generic and didn't specify whether it was reproductive or death with dignity or gender affirming, just whatever is legal here in Maryland, we're going to protect our citizens and our medical providers so that we don't provide information to out of state places that don't recognize it as legal.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's some way to come up with a more generic definition of legally protected care, it was very tightly defined in the prior legislation that was passed by the General Assembly last year. You know, we can certainly look at that. That isn't this bill. This bill is really just to kind of add this single, these types of conditions to be under that. But, you know, if there's a way to broaden legally protected care, sure. I think the other difficult part is that you may not, you know, there may be future conditions or future types of care that are offered that may not have been foreseen. And so sometimes it's hard to have a full catch-all for different types of care, especially conditions that might not have been conceptualized when the statute was first created too.
Thank you. And that it's a good point. The only thing is we have 3 weeks left, and if you open it up, there are a lot of other people that are going to want to be heard, and this is very specific for the moment. But it's an excellent point, as always. Thank you. So are there any other questions for the senator? Senator, you were popular today. So that is that.
Thank you.
So this actually concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 119. Next, may I please have Senate Bill 412, Senator Guile, Mental Health Law, County Mental Health Advisory Committee's membership. Good afternoon, Senator.
Good
How are you?
afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back in here today again. Senator John Guile here to present Senate Bill 412, which is an identical posture to House Bill 408, which was sponsored by my fabulous delegate, Heather Bagnall, who's on this committee. Basically what the bill does is just add somebody who has experience in mental health care for veterans or current service members to county mental health advisory committees. So I would just ask for a favorable report also from this committee.
Thank you. And you do have a fabulous delegate. You know, we love and respect her a lot. Here in the
I
House.
do love and respect her too. So thank you.
Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you,
Thank
Senator.
you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And my pleasure. This concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 412. Next, I saw Senator Lewis Young and then Senator Ellis. Senator Lewis Young, Senate Bill 332, Hospitals and Urgent Care Centers, Sepsis Protocol, Lachlan's Law. How are you? Haven't seen you once here.
I haven't been here for a while, but I did spend quite a bit of time here.
Well, you know,
Fond
always,
memories.
always an HGO member. You will always be one, okay? And you
Thank
have
you.
someone behind you that is the same, then go ahead.
Thank you. Well, my bill, Senate Bill 332, is a cross file of House Bill 84, my former seatmate, my district mate. The bills are in the exact same posture, and therefore I ask for a favorable report.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me ask, are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you for coming and you're
Thank you.
welcome anytime. This concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 332. We're gonna call Senate Bill 197, Senator Ellis, and then our own Delegate Jones. How are you, Senator? This is Senate Bill 197, Residential Service Agencies, Reimbursement Personal Assistance Services. How are you this afternoon?
I am doing well, and I hope you are doing well, Madam Chair and
We are.
members of the HGO Committee. It's good to see all my friends here on this beautiful first day of spring.
Yes.
And it's a pleasure to be here with you and to present Senate Bill 197. I'm Senator Arthur Ellis, representing District 28 in Charles County for the record. And this exact same bill was passed through this committee, Residential Services, Reimbursement, Personal Assistance Services. The purpose of this bill is to authorize the Maryland Department of Health to reimburse a residential service agency for personal assistance services only if the individual is an employee. A lot of folks in this industry were listed as independent contractors, mainly low income people of color, and they get a big shock when they get a letter from the IRS, sometimes 2-3 years later, saying you owe all this money, all the employment taxes, all these taxes, and it definitely adds to their impoverishment. So that being said, I ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 197. Hello, Vice Chair. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Ellis. Any question for the great senator? Seeing none, Senator, thank you for coming. We really appreciate
It's
you.
Great to be here. Great to see
And,
everyone.
and this
Thank you.
concludes the Senate bill hearing on Senate Bill 197. Then we have the wonderful Delegate Jones, House Bill 1472, Professional and Volunteer Firefighter Innovative Cancer Screening Technologies Program Funding. Hi,
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
how are you?
I'm well, thank you very much. Chair Peña-Melnick, Vice Chair Cullison, and members and friends of the Health Government Operations Committee. For the record, I am Delegate Dana Jones on HB 1472. I come before you today to introduce HB 1472, Professional and Volunteer Firefighter Innovative Cancer Screening Technologies Program funding. Originally enacted in 2019, the program provides grants to local fire departments and volunteer fire departments to procure innovative cancer screening tests that are otherwise not conducted during routine physical examinations or not covered by insurance. At present, this program is funded at $100,000 annually. HB 1472 provides the governor discretion to provide up to $500,000 in funding annually for the program. Tragically, as I know that you all know, more firefighters are dying from cancer with every passing year. Cancer is the #1 killer of firefighters, as outlined in the testimony by the Professional Firefighters of Maryland. It accounts as the cause of death for an average of 70% of fallen firefighters honored annually at the IAFF Memorial. To combat cancer, early detection is key, with a much higher survival rate caught earlier compared at advanced stages. HB 1472 will go a long way to ensuring longer, healthier, and happier lives for our firefighting heroes. Finally, the Senate cross-file of this legislation passed the Senate unanimously in unanimous support in the committee as well as the Senate floor. With that, I respectfully request a favorable report on HB 1472. And in your floor system, you will see favorable testimony from the Professional Firefighters of Maryland, MACO, and the Maryland State Firefighting Association. Ma'am.
Thank you. And the Senate bill we're having a hearing next week, and yours is in the same posture as the Senate, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are there any questions for Delegate Jones? Delegate Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Delegate, for the bill. Is it true that a lot of the cases of cancer for the firefighters are because of the dangerous job they do for the public?
Yes, it
Thank you.
is.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for the question. Delegate Jones, thank you for working on this bill. We really appreciate you and for being with us today. We look forward to voting on the bill.
Thank you
Okay?
so much, Chairwoman. Thank you all.
Have a blessed day. And this actually concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1472. Do I have any senators left? Anyone representing Senator Muse? Will you be so kind and come up? Give us your name. what the bill does, and is it in the same posture? This is Senate Bill 151, Senator Muse, Prince George's County Work Group on Health and Wellness. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and Madam Vice Chair, members of the HGO Committee. My name is Brandy Calhoun, and I'm here in support for Senator Muse on Senate Bill 151, the Prince George's County Work Group on Health and Wellness. Senate Bill 151 is the identical bill to the cross-file HB 358, which passed out of this committee 23-0. If you have any questions, please let me know. I can go through the whole explanation of the bill if you would like. If not, I will ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 151.
Does anyone need a refresher? Have any question? No, they don't. So thank you very much. To let
Thank
him know you
you.
did an amazing job. This actually concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 151. I believe there's someone here for Senator Klausmeyer. Am I correct? Great to see you. And you know what to do, correct?
Yes, I do.
And this is Hospitals, Senate Bill 403, Hospitals and Related Institutions, Residential Treatment Centers Accreditation. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Pena Melnick, Vice Chair Collison, members of the House, Health and Government Operations Committee. For the record, my name is Sam Deschanel here on behalf of Senator Klausmeyer. I'll keep this brief. Senate Bill 403 is a cross-file to House Bill 1134, which was introduced by Delegate Bagnall. She's getting a lot of call outs today. That bill already passed this committee and the House unanimously. The two bills are identical in posture. I'm happy to go into more detail or answer any questions that you all have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you for being with us. Let her know you did amazing. We really appreciate it. This concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 403. Are there any senators or senators team, anyone here? All right. Yes, thank you so much. So let's go with the departmental ones. We're gonna start with Senate Bill 212, Behavioral Health Advisory Council and Commission on Behavioral Health Care Treatment and Access Alterations.
Good afternoon and happy first day of spring to you all. Alyssa Lord from the Maryland Department of Health, Behavioral Health Administration. I'd
Good
like
afternoon.
to thank you and appreciate the opportunity to testify today on this important departmental legislation, Senate Bill 212, which is the cross-file for House Bill 1048. There was no opposition to this bill. Amendments had included inclusivity of Mental Health Parity Act language and consideration of applying for the CMS Innovation in Behavioral Health model. And additional changes that were made were alteration to the committee membership to include representatives from the Department of Aging and the State's Attorneys Association.
Thank you very much. I told you, you are a professional now testifying. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this actually concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 212. Senate Bill 220, Public Health Services and Protections Revisions. Try to tap that. How are you?
I will do my best, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Nilesh Kalyanaraman with the Maryland Department of Health. And thank you, Chair Pena Melnick and the rest of the committee for having me here. This bill is a companion bill to House Bill 42, which has already been considered by the committee. There are no amendments to either of the cross files, and there was no opposition in either House or Senate side hearings for the first readers of these bills.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. And we appreciate you working with the committee on so many issues, okay? This actually concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 220. Next, we have Senate Bill 267, which is we're saving an amazing young woman that was on this committee for last. Senate Bill 267, Motor Vehicle Administration and Local Health Departments, death certificate issuance of copies. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
We saw you
as
at the
well.
beginning of session.
That's right.
And now we see you at the end.
That's right. Well, thank you for having me. For the record, Chrissy Nizer, Motor Vehicle Administrator. It's my pleasure to be here in support of Senate Bill 267, which is the companion bill to House Bill 230, which was passed unanimously. There was one amendment added on the Senate side, which adds local health departments having the authority to issue death certificates as well as the Motor Vehicle Administration, which was our departmental. There was no opposition to this amendment or to the legislation as a whole. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the amendments? Delegate Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Nizer, good to see you. I'm sorry, can you say the amendment again? It's allowing the
Certainly.
local boards?
That's right. The local health departments, it adds them in the authorizing language along with the Motor Vehicle Administration.
Is this something they wanted? I
Yes,
imagine.
and that is my
Okay.
understanding, and the Maryland Department of Health was fine with the amendment as added, and there was no opposition.
Okay, wonderful. So any other questions? Delegate Vice Chair Collison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up, so they'll be following the same process that the motor vehicles does and making the connections.
That's
So
exactly
this
right.
is going to greatly reduce the burden on the Department of Health.
And add access for customers, more locations for them to obtain the death certificates as well.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes, Delegate Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got very excited because something occurred to me, and great to see you.
Good to
Thank
see
you. We are looking at budget amendments, and I understand there are some risk that MVA offices might be closed if we don't fully fund the budget. Are you aware of that?
So as part of the reductions that we had to come up with originally, to meet the budget issues, there were 2 offices that were listed. However, when the governor gave back $150 million to the department, one of that specifically restored those 2 branch locations. So at least for this fiscal year coming up, starting in July, there'll be no branch closures. Obviously, we'll have to consider what happens to the budget going forward. I know you all are actively dealing with that now. Yes. Thank you.
My pleasure. Are there any other questions? You were quite popular today. So this actually concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 267. May I ask for a favor?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you be so kind and wait for me for a few minutes?
Oh, certainly. No
Thank
problem.
you so much. And then we have the last bill of the day, and we saved the best for last. Senate Bill 226, Human Services Attendant Care Program, ongoing additional supports. And for you, those of you that do not know at home why we got so excited, it's because this amazing witness used to be a delegate in this committee, and she's very loved. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much, Chair Pena-Melnick, Vice Chair Cullison, and members of the committee. I'm here representing Secretary Beatty and the Department of Disabilities for Senate Bill 226. And I will keep this brief. It is in the same posture as it passed. It was House Bill 215 as it passed this committee and the House. There were no amendments and there were no opposition. We ask for your favorable report.
Wonderful. Any question for your name, please?
Oh, Lisa Bel Castro.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that for the
Former
record.
Delegate Lisa Bel Castro. Delegate Kaiser.
Do you miss us?
Every day, every day.
Well, you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't see any questions, any other questions for you, and it's wonderful to see you,
Wonderful
Lisa.
to see
You
you.
have a blessed day. This
You too.
actually
Thanks, everyone.
concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 226. Is there anyone here that didn't get called for a bill? No? All right, wonderful. This actually concludes the bill hearings for today. Thank you so much for being with us.